I think my property should be X, and the market is saying it's Y, a little bit lower. How do you deal with that challenging seller? This way, an agent watching this can say, this is the skill set I need to deal with that challenging seller.
So I'll have a conversation with them and I really show them, I sit down side by side and show them what the market is saying. I don't make the market, I just read it as what the homes are selling for. And if I have a
Mhm.
seller that's just adamant about, okay, I want to list it at this price, then we have a game plan. Well, let's try it your way. And then after 10 days, if we don't get a certain amount of showings and we don't get any offers, then we need to lower it and let's try it my way. So that's really how I deal with difficult sellers in a manner like that. Let's try it your way and see. And if it works, good. If it doesn't, then you have to allow me to then do my job and be the expert and show you where it should be. And that's how I deal with sellers that are just adamant about this is where my home should be listed at.
Hey, gang, we are back. Another great episode of the Headley Group Real Estate Show. Listen, we got an alumni back on the program. She is doing her thing in the Houston area. Definitely made Rookie of the Year 2023. She's a part of the Leadership Council. Top 20% or out of 500 brokers, agents inside of her firm. Let's give a warm welcome, Miss Liska Sims. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
You are back. We appreciate you coming back on.
Thank you for having me again. It's
That's
good to
right.
be back.
That's awesome. What now we got to dive in. We got to dive in deep for all the great accomplishments since you've made the transition into real estate, coming from the lending world, and we really want to know how that skill set of you transferring from the lender side and what has transpired since then. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
That's awesome. All right. So, Rookie of the Year 2023. Tell us about that. How many transactions did you close? And let's dive into that.
Oh, it was awesome. That was actually a goal of mine when I joined the Keller Williams office to be Rookie of the Year in that office. And so last year for 2023, I closed 12 transactions, 3.5 million.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know, each area states are different as far as loan amounts and sales prices,
Definitely.
but that was a good number for me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have done it without my family, my clients. Everybody was awesome that contributed to that.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of, let's talk about that, because typically people get into the real estate business, they get their license and, they're excited, they watch AGTV or they seen a peer, probably like yourself or myself, who's been in the game. They say, okay, I want to model what you're doing. Out of them 12 transactions, I know you gave a shout to your friends and family. What do you say to a broker getting into the business and they have this expectation that family and friends were supposed to use their services, and sometimes they don't use their services? If you experienced that before, or if you haven't, what does that look like to you? Let's talk about that.
Yes, I actually have experienced that. I think a lot of times people think that it's family is too close for family, that they don't want anybody in their business. So it can be hurtful and you can't take it personally as far as that goes. So what I do is just go where the love is. So, whomever
I
wants
like that.
to, you know, whoever wants to do business with me, that's who I do business with. And there are friends that are out there that will refer people to you. And a lot of times it's be the person that you least expect that is referring the business to you. You have an expectation that it'll come from somebody, and it may not always work out like that. And that's okay.
Yeah, I like that. I like when you said it, because what happens is here, like I said, at our office, we literally got to do a lot of encouragement, because again, people feel, as they say, some kind of way because you got a sister or you got a cousin or you got a best friend, and next thing they say, oh yeah, I got a house under contract. You're like, well, that's what I do for a living, right? And you can't take that person, again, as a part of the business. But I guess somebody can argue and say, well, but you can't take it personal because you my blood. Like, this is what I do. Right. But anyway, I'm just going on the tangent there, but it's made me think about that. Referrals. Let's dive into the referral piece. What kind of referral systems, and again, you don't have to get into specifics if you don't choose to, what kind of referral systems are you utilizing, or any tips that another agent getting into the business can use from outside of their family and friends?
Well, it's really relationship building. I'm very big on
Okay.
building relationships. So you can get referrals from vendors, like the people that you do business with, and also previous clients. I'm all about, it's not a transaction, it is a relationship. So just taking care of people, just checking on them, being genuinely checking on them and bringing value. You've got to bring value. And when they see that you bring value, then they will refer the business.
Okay, so let's dive into that word value, because again, we hear that a lot, and which make perfectly great sense. If you don't show why you're earning your dollars, then again, they're going to go down the street. Particularly with this transition, with this whole commission thing, we're going to talk about that as well. Showing your value. How does Liska show her value? And let's give me an example with a particular client. How did you show your value where they said at the end of that transaction, you're going to get more of my business, so I'm going to refer you?
Well, it really works with so I work with a lot of sellers, so I do a lot of listings. That's actually the bulk of my
Listings.
business. So
Nice.
when they need something, it's just a matter of a resource. My last client anything she needed, I was like, oh, I can help you with that. And she was like, Liska, you're like Walmart. You just have anything, any person, any type of vendor, be it if it's a mover or cleaning company, like whatever it is. So I'm a resource for that. So that is bringing value to someone when they're not having to figure out in Google or ask someone else, how can I get this service taken care of, when you can come to me and I can connect you with someone. I'm really like a connector. I'm a plug. And it doesn't have to be anything as far as I'm getting anything out of it. I'm just connecting you to someone that you need or something that you need.
I like that. You see, you mentioned I'm the plug. And people don't really realize that there's a lot of strength in that when you know so many different people that can get the job done and are able and have the skill set with the certifications and the insurance to get the job done. We transition a little bit here. The market that you're in, your backyard, because I take it, again, you cover the whole Houston area, a certain part of Houston, or where you're at.
I'm all of Houston. I'm
All
all
of
of
Houston.
Houston.
Okay.
All, yes.
All of Houston. We got a little storm coming down there, right? How is it, by the way? The weather?
It actually was
What's the weather
raining.
out there?
It's past now. We got a good amount of rain the last couple of days, so now it's clearing up. It's
Okay.
a little
Okay.
scary
Okay.
though with what's going on in hurricane season. It's just started, so.
Yeah, exactly. So your backyard, Houston market. Walk us through that backyard. Exactly. How does that look? Days on market for homes? Are they going real quickly? Multiple offers? Do you have hedge fund companies coming in, buying up everything? Talk to us about your backyard.
So it actually we're seeing we're days on market. It's about 31 days now. It's staying a little bit
Mm-hmm.
longer than it was before, and of course that's
Mm-hmm.
because interest rates have gone up. And people don't realize that this is like the new norm now. They still in that mindset of 2020. So you are seeing that the homes are staying on the market a little longer, and you are also seeing price decreases. So again, you have to make sure that you're pricing right, and you have some people that are still in the mindset of 2020. Let me just put it at a high price, and then we're going to get multiple offers here. That's not.
Mm.
I'm not seeing that anymore. So that's
Mm.
kind of how the market is here. I'm assuming it may be the same way in North Carolina.
Exactly. Oh, definitely. No, we let them know. Listen, just because you painted that back bedroom, or you've done some great landscape, it doesn't mean you need to be 20 above what the market is going for, right? Because, and again, like you said, we experienced that. How do you deal with? You said you deal primarily with the listings, right?
Yes. I
Okay,
have
so
buyers
we're
as
gonna
well.
get. Okay, exactly. We don't want to limit you. You deal with everyone, right?
Yes.
But again, a lot of your business is listings. You deal with sellers. So we're gonna talk about a difficult seller. Like I mentioned a minute ago about I painted the back bedroom, I added some tile inside the kitchen area, I've done some landscaping. I think my property should be X, and the market is saying it's Y, a little bit lower. How do you deal with that challenging seller? This way, an agent watching this can say, this is the skill set I need to deal with that challenging seller.
So I'll have a conversation with them and I really show them, I sit down side by side and show them what the market is saying. I don't make the market, I just read it as what the homes are selling for. And if I have a
Mhm.
seller that's just adamant about, okay, I want to list it at this price, then we have a game plan. Well, let's try it your way. And then after 10 days, if we don't get a certain amount of showings and we don't get any offers, then we need to lower it and let's try it my way. So that's really how I deal with difficult sellers in a manner like that. Let's try it your way
Mhm.
and see. And if it works, good. If it doesn't, then you have to allow me to then do my job and be the expert and show you where it should be. And that's how I deal with sellers that are just adamant about this is where my home should be listed at. I, of course,
Mm.
try to talk them down beforehand, but if they're just steadfast on this is what they want to be at, then that's the strategy that I use.
Mm. I like that. I actually had a situation like that where they're so, like you said, steadfast, headstrong. This is where my numbers is at because Zillow said so. Even though I produce comps, ultimately I always recommend an appraisal. But I always say, first 2 weeks on the market, we'll do it your way. After that, we got to do some kind of adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is we don't want you to have a stale property on the market. Then agents and brokers are saying, what's wrong with that house?
Exactly.
Um, how do you deal with a situation where you'll have a seller who is so strong on not budging on terms? In other words, this is my price, this is what it is, but you have nice competitive offers. They may ask for closing costs, they may ask for the appliances. What do you deal with a situation like that?
Again, it's getting creative and showing them the numbers is really what it is. A seller's net sheet is the
Mm,
best thing that you can use to show them.
mm,
Look, I mean, you have this number, what you want in your head, but let's see, let's play with these numbers. And if you do this, if you bend on this, then we can, get you to the bottom line that you want to be in. And it may be off, a couple $1,000s or so, but do you want to put your house back on the market? Because
mm,
it shows that the first offer is usually the best offer. So then you don't accept the offer.
mm,
Are you willing to put it back on there and not get something or get something even lower because it's been sitting? So it's really, again, showing
mm,
them the numbers. This is what it is. And then asking them what's most important. That's really honestly
mm.
how I handle that.
Okay, okay, okay. Do you find it more challenging to deal with traditional sellers versus investors?
No, investors actually tend to be a little more difficult in my experience with dealing with.
Go ahead and say it. They're a headache. I'll say it. No, but they're good clients. But sometimes because in end of the day, I've always said is they don't want to steal. I mean, they don't want to deal. They want to steal, right?
Yes,
So it's like
absolutely.
I want to pay this much for it, but I want to get this much profit. But like you alluded to, the data shows instead of getting this much, you actually can get that much
Hmm.
because again, we know everything's backed by data. Um, how has the market been with when you have buyers in terms of, like you said, days on market is a little bit longer now in your backyard. So now buyers don't have to rush, so to speak, to get their offering. Are you seeing that, or is it still they got to move a little quicker when it comes to multiple offers?
Well, it just depends on the price point of the house when you get in a certain price point
Mm,
because first time home buyers are being priced out of the market. And unfortunately, we're seeing that in Houston. So when you see a property that goes on the market that's potentially for a first time home buyer, then they have to jump on it right away because it can be a multiple offer situation. So that's, that's a price point with first time home buyers. When you get to another price point, a lot of my clients like to do new construction. So
mm-hmm.
that's a big part of the market that I work in as well. So when it's
Okay.
a new construction, then you don't necessarily have to rush on it. I mean, you sit down and sit with the builder, of course, and I still help my clients do that process. You have some that
Mm,
say, okay, why do I need an agent when I'm going to the builder? Well, the sales counselor is not representing you, they're representing the builder. So it is
oh,
important to have someone represent you.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know the reason why I'm over here smiling because I literally just experienced that. A friend of mine's been knowing I do this business. I caught up in the caller one day. Hey, how's things going? She was like, you won't be surprised. What happened? I got a house under contract, new construction. So the first thing I said, well, okay, you didn't reach out to me. We went through that whole thing. Then I said, well, do you know that sales agent, they're working for the seller? Her mind was made. Nah, I don't care. I don't, all right, whatever. So you have them. I dealt with that before.
Mhm.
Right? How do you deal with? Well, not how do you deal with? What does your consultation looks like when you have that new buyer that says, I'm interested in this subdivision? What do you walk them through? You have a pamphlet? Like, what does that look like versus the seller side?
Yes, I actually have a buyer's guide. I have a seller's guide and a buyer's guide. So I sit down, we
Nice.
make the appointment. I have a buyer's guide, especially first time home buyers. Just go through the entire process with them step by step. And then the first thing I'm going to do is get them with my lending partner because you like a subdivision, but we need to make
Mm,
sure that you qualify for the home that you want to buy. You don't want to start looking and, oh, you get excited about this house, but it's at a price point that's beyond your budget. So the first thing I do before we start even looking at houses or talking about price or anything of the sort, I get them introduced to my lending partner so that we can see exactly what they qualify for and make sure that they're comfortable with the payment based off of that number. So that is truly the first step
mm.
that I tell them during the consultation.
Nice, nice. And what if it's an incentive? A lot of times these builders say, use our lender, we'll deduct X off of, or there's a certain incentive. How do you kind of orchestrate that? Do you still present your lender? How do you
Yes,
deal with that?
initially I still present my lender so that we can see, because it doesn't mean that they're going to always go with new construction, because I'll send them some existing
Mm-hmm,
homes to see that there's something that's out there that's newer, that could be
mm-hmm,
actually lower than what the new construction is offering. So
mm-hmm,
my initial step is still getting them with my lending partner. And then if it's a situation where the builder is giving incentives, of course I do what's best for my client and encourage
mm-hmm.
them to go with whatever, the builder is offering if it is going to be a better situation for them.
Nice, nice. What So again, Miss Liska came from the lending world, correct?
Correct. I was an underwriter.
And how many? And as under how many years of experience?
Over 20 years, 2001.
Over 2000. Okay, with 20 years experience. So for those who did not see the initial show when she first came on, I suggest you go back and look at that. The audiences that's new to it now, Liska, how has that experience transferred over them skill systems to make your job a little more easier as a real estate agent?
Well, actually, again, the initial conversation with having talking to someone, because I come from the lending world, I'm able to help them get all the documents that's needed, have an intelligent
Mm-hmm.
conversation about what that's going to look like when I do introduce them to my lending partner, as well as if my
Mm-hmm.
lending partner says something to them, I'm their trusted advisor, so they will come to me with any questions, and I'm able to answer them intelligently because I come from the mortgage world, so I can, help them
Mm-hmm.
structure their loans properly before it goes to the lender if necessary. So that really is a
Mm-hmm.
huge skill set that has benefited me greatly.
Nice. Nice. Challenging deals, because we had them. I just had one last week. Walk us through one, a rocky one where you was like, this is it made you, and again, I'm going to speak for you, but I know we've had them deals where it just questions, just like, man, should I be in this business? But tell us about a deal that was a rocky one. It just made you, and you end up working it out. At the end of the day, everybody was happy.
It actually was on the listing side. I had one where the buyer, they got an inspection and the house was really in great condition. My client got the roof repaired, like did a lot of repairs beforehand, and they got an
Mm-hmm.
inspection done, and then they were coming back asking for like things that was just didn't make any sense. And then I talked to the inspector, and this buyer it was their third house with their inspection. So anyway, we just kind of had to go back and forth with negotiating on what my client would repair, what money they would give. So that was just the challenging part with negotiation, especially when you're dealing with another agent and their client is, giving them a lot of pushback. So that was just like pulling teeth for us to get to the closing table on that one. But the negotiations on, I mean, you're not going to get everything repaired on an inspection report when it's an existing home. So that was like the most difficult part that I recently that I've
Mm.
experienced.
That's yeah, because them deals there. It's like you really have to put, as they say back in school, to put your thinking caps on to really orchestrate. Okay, how can I come up with in combination with the client to come up with a great situation where everybody's happy without killing the deal.
I mean, even in the case where I was was willing to give up a portion of my commission because again, I mean, we're all in it to make money, but I still want to make sure the deal gets done. And I'll offer to give up my commission. And my client was like, no, Liska, you worked really hard on this. We're not going to take anything from you. So we'll just go ahead and, we don't want to, but we're going to go ahead and do it. But even offering up a portion of my commission.
You say great transition because you literally took the thoughts out of my head because I was about to ask you about have you ever gave up a piece of your commission, and if that is the true value and why you made Rookie of the Year, you're part of that top 20% because of doing small. Now we don't say give up your commission all the time, but the fact that you was willing to do that really just shows the client that I got the right person on my side. So again, kudos to you for that. I'm quite sure your office probably been talking about it. The commission agreement, the suit that came down, which they'll be implementing. Because there's no particular date. I know I think August we was hearing something like that. I don't know when your market they was talking about it. But pretty much you can highlight what a commission is on MLS, right? And I've always said in the commercial world, even though there's a section on the MLS, however, they give commissions and it's not always highlighted. It's basically as a matter of a phone call. Hey, you're giving up some commission with the sale of this property. Is there talks, and again, I know everything's preliminary, is there talks on how that is worked out in terms of you getting compensated for your services, getting it from the buyer? And you got any insight on that?
Of course, everybody's been talking about it, and commissions, of course, are always negotiable. As far as the listing side, this will basically let you know that being the listing agent is even more so important than being a buyer's agent because you control,
very much so,
making sure that you are getting paid for work that you do. As far as where we're going to be listing it at, they've talked about of course, on the websites. So, I have my own personal website, and that's nice. Probably where we would discuss. Of course, I'm already having listing presentations with some people that are saying, hey, I don't want to pay the buyer's commission. So that's a whole, because you have some people that are getting misinformation and being misguided, in my opinion, about that. But again, it's going to be important that you, one, have a strong skill set to explain to the seller why it's important to still continue to pay the buyer's agent commission, as well as I do believe that listing agents are going to just start getting a lot more phone calls because we're not able to market it on MLS. That's really going to be the big difference.
Exactly. And just to add to that, I really do think that, again, it's my opinion, I think that it will cut out a lot of buyers, agents, brokers, because again, you have to show the words you use value. I think having the letters possibly behind you, showing that you got the education, showing that you have a great team behind you, and you're willing to do kind of whatever it takes to really show your value if the buyer is paying you. Versus before, submit a contract, here you go up and getting it from the seller side. So, and I think that will just cause some disruption. And after a while, I think things will kind of level off and it'll work itself out. But I think initially it's going to be a little bit rocky. Liska, let me tell you something. You really gave us insightful information now. Like I said, I know we've been on the call for 20 minutes, 22 minutes. Did I not ask you a question that you would like to answer?
No, you didn't. I mean, you've really asked some great questions.
Yeah, because I really want to dive right in and exactly highlight your skill set, what you can do for your client, as well as let the audience learn from you being in the business. And I didn't add this right here. How long have you been in the business? So again,
I started in 2001 on the mortgage side, and then I shifted to real estate in 2022. The end of 2022. The end of 2022.
Okay.
So yes, I'm going on 2 years now. Okay. It was at the very end. So really, I just got started January of 23.
Now you see people literally Rookie of the Year, top 20%, as well as on the Leadership Council. It can happen. And you do this full time, don't you, Liska?
Yes.
So give me your thoughts on that. Part-time agents trying to make full-time money. What's your thoughts on that?
I really don't understand how anyone can do it actually part-time because it's a lot of work. So I really don't to be a dual career. I just don't see how you're able to do it at a high level with having another job, because it is
Mm,
really a lot of work. I
mm,
don't even have, I have to take an off day, and it's been an adjustment. I mean, I love what I do.
mm, mm,
I do want to add, I actually
So
won,
there it is.
I was the top 20 agent out of 600 agents, and I was able to go on a cruise because of that in my first year with the office. So that was exciting.
There it is. I stand corrected. There we go. That's right. She went on a nice cruise. The crew, the team has rewarded her for doing some great work, and she was able to do a cruise. But at the same time, she works hard. She does it full time. So you can't part time and expect full time money and expect why your business ain't growing. So again, kudos to you, Liska. Um, so Liska, listen, we ask every guest been on the show for 2 golden nuggets, whether that be a scripture, a tip, a book, something that you could recommend to an up and coming agent or a buyer or seller.
Okay, it's probably going to be the same nugget that I gave you before. It is, I tell people to date the rate and marry the house. So that's the biggest thing that when people, especially now in this market, when you're talking about the interest rates, um, and then also it's a relationship. It's not a transaction. This is a relationship business. So if you want to grow your business, you have to build relationships and build them organically. Just be genuine, be your genuine self, and the business will come.
Mm, that's right. You see that? Listen, gang, Liska's out there in the Houston area, or reach out to her. She has the skill set, the knowledge, and the experience to give you the value that you need. I want to thank y'all for watching the Headley Group Real Estate Show. Again, like and share. Let somebody pick up some great tips. We'll see you all next time on the Headley Group Real Estate Show. Adios. Hey, gang, I hope you really enjoyed that show. Our guests provided us some great tips and insight, and please support them on all social media platforms. And while I'm saying that, support us on all social media platforms. And don't forget, watch the entire video on YouTube. We'll see you next time.